following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have? Well, certainly we've got the NASDAQ up almost 28 points. Dow's off 20. The S&P's up 1.5. And a lot of people trying to, I think, write a little bit too much into what's going on. We had sell the news yesterday. Today and tomorrow is options expiration, especially since volume will start declining pretty much after tomorrow through the rest of the year. And of course, once we get to the 15th, that will be incredibly light volume. But it gets kind of tough to get in and out of your positions. So we're probably seeing a bit of that starting already today in those. Seeing a lot of put selling, which generally is a bullish indicator for the next for options expiration. But seeing a lot of people continue to short. We're going to talk about how a lot of times one or two things happens. Either the shorts just can't help themselves and they short the bottom tick, just like people can't help but buy the top tick if they're in the sucker class of trading. Happens to us all once in a while, but there's a permanent class that can always do the wrong thing at the right time. And what else? That's kind of it. We've got a lot of stuff, a lot of questions. We'll answer those from the mailbag. Some from last Friday about some of the comments I had about Boeing and SpaceX. We'll try to illuminate that today. A little bit of trouble in Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that. Why in that, or at least Ethereum, and a handful of other stuff. But not getting too excited. FOMC tomorrow. Also, it's the end of them going delta neutral tomorrow. So my guess is that we're going to see in the next 24 hours, we will have the low of the rest of the year in place. And if they continue to keep selling puts like they have today and yesterday, my guess is that we're just going to drift up, and that money in the puts will go to money heaven, as it does almost every year when people try to short in declining volume situations. We'll talk about everybody trying to go after a big stock like it's going out of business and being bankrupt. And we got all kinds of stuff today. A embarrassment of riches of things to talk about. FOMC meeting, next week, excuse me, But that's about it. So we will, we'll get started here.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1945, something very interesting happened. 1945 at 2:10 p.m., 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers comprising Flight 19 take off from the Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station in Florida on a routine 3-hour training mission. Flight 19 was scheduled to take them due east for 120 miles, north for 73 miles, and then back over a final 120-mile leg that would return them to the naval base. They never returned. And, of course, everybody started talking about the triangle. Yes, the Bermuda Triangle. In reality, when you dig into this, there's a much easier explanation. The gentleman that actually was a leader and the flight trainer. Ended up with that job because he was a pretty poor flyer. He basically ran out of gas twice over in the Pacific Theater, got lost a great deal more times than that, got shot at. And of course, instead of leaving him over there in the war, they sent him back to something he could probably handle a little bit better. And that was training new recruits to fly. This, of course, after the end of the war. So it wasn't this big a deal of trying to get these guys out. But a lot of people want to come up with a lot of theories. The guy got lost. He got the leader got lost. He got lost a lot. And it's not probably too much to think that he just got lost again. I remember I was working for the Kansas City Star, and I had a couple of pictures that went national. One of them was a VW in a tree after a flood, and I always loved that because, of course, 1978-ish, everybody was working for a couple of bucks an hour at McDonald's. You get a couple of those, you get $1,000. That was pretty sweet money back in those times. The other time that I got a picture was in a training for a Air Force bunch that were doing some show, getting ready for a what do you call them? Not a flight show, air show, excuse me. And one of the leader misjudged his altitude. And of course, if you know anything about precision flying, the only way you can do it is if you're looking at the wingtip of the other gentleman in front of you, and they do that. And of course, if the leader goes in, they all go in, and they did, every single one of them. And of course, all I had was a picture of a bunch of smoking holes, but that's kind of it. When the leader goes in, everybody else goes in. No spooky things, no other things. You just find out that in this example and other examples, one person makes a mistake and gets a lot of people killed, in this case 27, but there wasn't any of all the brouhaha that everybody talks about. Man made mistakes regularly, still was allowed to lead many others, and led them all to their death on this day. So, yeah, Philadelphia experiment. Give me a break. Another one of those things you can do. No 3-hour tour on Gilligan's Island. No. Now, do I have enough time here, or did I talk too long on this? Where's my little clock? No, I don't have enough time. We talked with Tom O'Brien last Friday, and people asked me about what Boeing was doing in space and SpaceX, and I said, well, SpaceX just basically is dominating Boeing. I don't think they're going to do anything. We'll talk about the reasons why Boeing is not really going to be active in space in the near future. Take a few minutes, but you'll understand why Boeing's future is in airplanes and probably not in space. We'll be back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Well, I made kind of a comment that I didn't think Boeing is going to do much in space in the near future. Boeing's model of making money in the space was getting a big check from the government, putting something in space, and using pretty much all the design technology that came out of going to the moon. So there wasn't a whole lot new going on. In the 1990s, as the Soviet Union collapsed, we found out that the engines that they were making for their equivalent of their Saturn V took about 70 of these rocket motors. We had 4 big ones on our booster stage. They had a whole bunch of these things. I think there was, like, on the first stage, there was 40 some odd. In the second stage, there were 20. So these things used a bunch of small engines. But those small engines would work very well in regular rockets. After their space program basically wound down on ever going to the moon, because we beat them there, like a redheaded stepchild. They ordered all those engines destroyed, but a fairly smart dude in Russia figured out that he had a warehouse he could go hide them all in. And of course, about 20 years goes by, 1995 rolls around. This guy thinks, well, things aren't going well in Russia. I think I'm going to call him up and we can figure out how we can sell him all these engines that everybody thought was destroyed. When the engineers went over to look at these engines and got the specs from the Russians, they thought the Russians were lying. They didn't know, or we never really did know, that the Russians had figured out 2 major things that made their engines far advanced, or farther advanced than ours. The first one was they figured out a way to make stainless steel hold up a lot better to high temperatures. and they had a specific design that we did not have. If you ever go down to the Johnson Space Center, you will see the Saturn V. It had 4 big, huge motors at the bottom. But you can design a rocket to just kind of let the fuel be shot into the uh, exhaust cone with a little bit of pressure, i.e., kind of just putting a little, kind of like a squirt gun, just kind of let a little bit of gravity and a little bit of pressure with putting some liquid hydrogen or nitrogen on top of it, just kind of squeeze it in there. But that doesn't make a rocket that goes real fast and or is very efficient. So at some point they figured out that they needed yet a second motor to actually take all the fuel out of the upper parts of the stage and ram them through as fast as they could through those engines, and basically had the equivalent of a F-16 jet engine sitting on top of the 4 engines. Its one single job was to turn a bunch of turbines and absolutely empty I think it emptied a Olympic-sized swimming pool every 1 or 2 seconds. So you had to be able to absolutely move a huge amount of fuel. Pressurization wouldn't do it, anything else. And of course, if you put another engine on there, it's not very efficient. And the exhaust literally went out the side of the booster and didn't do much. So you're using a lot of fuel to run this one engine, actually just to pump fuel in another engine. What the Russians had figured out was a way of putting this all together so that the engines actually created enough power to run their own fuel pumps that were fast enough. This is a very tough thing to get right. And of course, all those engines were just sitting around there. We got the West got a very good price on it. And even Boeing decided not to spend a lot of time designing new rocket engines. And they just decided to buy these Russian engines and put their rockets together with them and didn't do anything. Well, Mr. Musk saw a fairly decent opportunity where nobody's doing any innovation. And a lot of what SpaceX has done is design even much better versions of the Russian design that mean that they don't have to have yet a second engine to pump fuel into the actual big engine that will do things. It's far more efficient. And of course, since Boeing hasn't been doing anything, they are way behind the curve on SpaceX. SpaceX's new Raptor motor will be about $25 to $60 million less per launch than even using the surplus Russian engines. Not only that, because they are so efficient, I think they are, although they are, I think it's a little bit more than 3/8 the weight, they actually produce about 60% of the power of those engines on the Saturn V's booster stage. So, I mean, these things are monsters. Most of the time, you look at the pressure in the exhaust outlet, and for our Saturn V's, they were about 180 times atmospheric pressure. These ones from the Raptor motors are 300, a little over 300 atmospheres. And it's all about how quickly you can get that fuel out. And letting it out slowly doesn't do you a whole lot. Trying to get it all out as fast as you can. So super intense pressures. So SpaceX basically figured out the Russian model, did it better, and came up even with better metals than the Russians, and can have much higher exhaust pressures on the back end. So literally, Boeing doesn't have anything that it can really do except continue to buy war surplus engines from the Russians. It hasn't really done a lot in upgrading its engines. And when you look at Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, what he did was go out there and fish those giant engines out of the sea and make kind of the same thing, except just these very huge engines that in his rocket he could put an international space station up in one launch, where it took 17 trips for the space shuttle to do it. So the thing is, Boeing's not even acting like they're going to get into it. I think that they were just used to making huge gobs of money by charging the government to put things up. They'd already made all their money. There weren't that many. Now that everybody wants to put a satellite in orbit, SpaceX is going to be there and has decided to, they're kind of the Ford assembly line versions, but SpaceX, actually has decided to build a lot of these parts, even in this engine, is reusable. So they're really going to get down and cut every expense that they can. But unless you're talking very tiny rockets or extremely large rockets, there's nobody that's going to be able to compete with this Raptor motor. And that continues on with that. And why I just don't see the future of Boeing being anything in rockets. They've got so many orders for so many planes. That's what they do. They do very well. And they've been able to make the assembly line work for them in their rockets. And I think that's about it. Eventually, I think they're just going to be out of the aerospace business, except maybe some legacy stuff for the government. That's about it. We'll be back after this to start with the
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And What do we got here? I'm just moving a few things around. Last item on the news is CryptoKitties. If you're not familiar with this is a online cat breeding game which has brought Ethereum's blockchain to a crawl. As we talked about how some of these things should work in theory, they don't quite always work that way in practice. Ethereum is causing a huge backlog of transactions with this CryptoKitties game in which people, I guess, buy and sell kittens each other. Kind of makes me think of the Beanie Babies gone Bitcoin. Anyway, apparently it is a favorite game, but there just isn't enough infrastructure yet to support this stuff. It will have to grow. But again, it's not very, you don't have to go very far to show the weaknesses of some new technology. It's got a lot of promise, but there's still huge problems with actually implementing a lot of these highfalutin ideas and other things. But you want to check into CryptoKitties if you're into the whole blockchain thing and see the weaknesses thereof. What else do we have? Wanted to talk about Intel. This one's down a little bit farther today, but yesterday, is that right? December 5th. Okay, just want to make sure. I was pretty sure that we were probably going to have something close to a low right in here in the SMHs. In fact, the semis are in, they're about flat or so. The reason why is everything's probably fairly good until everybody and their dog decides that it's time to short. Yesterday we talked about my new addition to the newsletter each day, where I show the highest short sell stocks or stocks that are sold short. And probably the most interesting part was Intel. It's normally about 11 or 12% shorted each day, went to 22% yesterday. Get a little follow through back in, but normally when you see massive changes in things like Intel, that's probably within a day or two of it turning. My guess is that we're going to see a lot of these have short squeezes all through tomorrow, but we're probably talking about 2 o'clock tomorrow. That's normally when options expiration rollover is over. They're done selling almost everything, and then you see the true direction of the market start about 2:30 on Delta Neutral Day and go all the way into expiration, which will be on Friday. But you know, you got your usual suspects that are heavily shorted, like Macy's and Avago, and some of the ones that you wouldn't think. Intel normally is fairly light, and to see that it's short interest, at least on those sales that were started that day. Don't know if anybody went home short, but certainly there was a one of the single biggest days shorting Intel in a long time. I've kind of always thought that it would be nice to pick up Intel. I thought maybe this would be the low. I haven't acted on it, but I think 42.50 may be the buy out here if you get that tomorrow. Man, you're awful close to probably some kind of significant low. Still up 8 on the NASDAQ, but the market's starting to roll over. Negative 70 on the Dow and negative 5 on the S&P cash. But there's just not a lot of juice, and we're going to see that going into the expiration day tomorrow. But still at 26.34. Nothing to, you know, if you've been long this year, you're still up a lot. It's going to take a bit to get people to really start to sell. We saw a little bit of that in, of course, in the techs yesterday. And, of course, very interesting today that we saw a huge wipeout in the first few minutes of the day, especially stocks like NVIDIA that got down to $180, and then what, an hour later was back up to 192. A lot of sellers in this, but again, we were looking at where this thing would probably turn to bullish, and on NVIDIA, it's a close of about 189.50. We're about a buck underneath that, but it's kind of holding those moves, but certainly much better than the 180.58 low that we saw minutes after the open, and then that kind of reversed and turned higher. What else do we want to take a look? Oh, we looked at Intel. I want to look at IBB for John, and he didn't say where he's from. Again, if you're long these things and you get halfway into the gap, I love to sell them. The art of timing the trade charts continues showing a gap for about 5 days after it's been filled. You pretty much got that half or more filled yesterday. So we probably gotten enough to get that gap done in the IBB. This was the day it came down on October 26th with 7 million shares. You got into it with 3 million shares. A little bit of reversal out here today. Do I think it's going to go back down to 167? Probably not. But my guess is you're going to see this thing kind of gently go back up into probably like 108 or 109 by the end of the year. We're getting pretty close to almost everything being over in this rotation in the sectors. We don't have much left out here. My guess is the S&P actually closes flat today. So we'll see how close that is. But just looking at the different stocks in here, I don't see a great deal. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. Got a lot of questions about Snap today. Got some earlier already. Of course, Snap popped up here. One of the most heavily shorted stocks in the market. This thing has been short about 50% since it hit 29 bucks. Yesterday, you normally see 24 or 25% each day. So 1 out of every 4 exchanges starts with a short sale on Snap, which gives you an idea that it's probably not going to make you a lot of money. If you are wrong on this thing, you're going to give a lot of it back in a hurry. My thought is, and I said earlier in the day, that if you're long Snap, that you probably have at least a couple of days. But my guess is this thing has literally a 50% short interest in it almost perpetually, that I just sit on my hands until probably the expiration day. My guess is that's probably where it will find a high. If you're playing options, then you got to worry about the decay. But if you're long the equity, I think you got an interesting play here, and I would sit on my hands and at least wait 3 days for margins to trickle through. If you're unfamiliar with that, especially a lot of new traders have a bad habit of piling on margin in short sales because you can make a lot of money. When it goes against you, though, it is incredibly brutal. And you get 3 days. And even the most jaded of Wall Street market makers are more than willing to hold that stock up for 3 days to make sure that not let anybody out. So minimum of 3 days, my guess is this thing trickles up all the way at least to the 15th of the month. And you could get up into the 16.5 or maybe even 1688 levels with the amount of shorts. I would not be surprised. We'll be back after this.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks. Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
I brought this up during Tom's show last night, and this is a stock called DPW. They make power supplies for machines that mine blockchain coins. They don't have a lot of business. I think Tom said $3 million bucks a year or something. And of course, it's pretty interesting to see that CNBC is rather complicit in taking a stock like this and smearing the ticker fairly liberally all over its screen. But not a lot different than it did in 1999 and 2000. They are fanning the flames of these things, and this opened lower and it's kind of come back up here today. But a bigger issue is the fact that this was trading at about $4.60 after market last night on some new press release that they had. The age of the Beanie Baby and .coms is back. You don't have to have a lot of actual profits. You just have to have a really great story. And if CNBC picks up on it and flogs it a bit, you can see these things run. But you're down $1 today if you bought or did anything else on these, why CNBC was fanning the flames after the bell last night. Did I have anything else I was looking at? So we did IBB, did everything else. Until I wanted to look at some of these 52-week highs before we left today. I got enough time to run through these. Let's go ahead and actually cut down the time frame to about 6 months and look and see how these things did. Alley Financial, $28.24 today. You've seen the volume in the last 4 days kind of go down. You might actually be able to make yesterday's volume in this one. American Depressed. Another one, this thing's got like 3 little dojis in a row. Fairly light volume in this one today, 1.8 million shares compared to 4.6 million shares yesterday. The CME, of course, all a buzz of trading Bitcoin futures. Another 52-week high. This one reversed back into yesterday's candle. Not a lot of juice, 1.4 million shares so far compared to the 2.4 million shares yesterday. See, what is this? COLL. This one reversed to 2 million shares compared to 1.75 million shares on November 21st. So you don't know about that. Costco, taking a look at that one, a little bit of a mini reversal in this one. So again, I'm thinking when we look through a lot of these, we're seeing these retailers kind of look like the top is in for those guys now that the sector rotation went back into retail for some reason. But you kind of got that today. Anyway, Costco, 191.22 today, 1.7 million shares so far compared to 5.7 million shares yesterday. To DFS, another reversal. This is Discover Financial Systems. Another financial looks like maybe it's hit a high on the 52-week parade. Let's call it 2.3 million shares compared to 4 million shares yesterday. So we'll see how these come in by the end of the day. The artsy fartsy bunch combined with helping heaping of hippies. Etsy tried to make a new high today. It looks like it's coming back. 1850 on 3 million shares. Not a bad deal. 4 million shares back on November 7th. And yesterday, 5 million shares. So it got up to the high, and volume, not all that exciting today, but we'll see. Five Below, this one did well on earnings. If you're unfamiliar with this, it's a dollar store where everything is below $5 instead of everything below $1. A little reversal on this one yesterday. Volume really started to decrease yesterday. You got just another tick higher today. 870,000 shares so far compared to the 1.7 million shares yesterday. Fox, 21st Century Fox, this has been on a tear. Of course, Disney talking about buying them out. CGI, we'll take a quick look at this. Another spike in Gannett. GCI is the symbol on this one. Nice, kind of a little hammer up here at the highs. GIII, which is the apparel group, GIII. This is back up into a resistance level that's been there. This one's one of the stronger ones of the bunch. But again, about $37 is where you want to take your cash if you're in this one. That would be a gap fill of the gap going back to August 30th of 2016, where this thing came down on 7.7 million shares. We got about 3 million shares today. FC, which is Holly Frontier, it's back up to a gap. We'll go back here and look at this one a little bit. This thing has finally gotten back to where this gap down back on December 7th of 2015. Let's take a look at the last few days here. This thing's been going sideways. This one's actually holding up, although volume may be a little better than the last 3 or 4 days. So that one looks interesting. Hormel and the Spam bunch has a nice little reversal. You were looking for 3 million shares. You pretty much got it yesterday with 3.4 million shares, but went higher on just 1.5 million shares so far today and has rolled back into the trading range. Coors, Michael Coors, not the beer drinking Coors, is the yet another 52-week high today. Yesterday you had 2.5 million shares, 2 million shares now. So that one may hold in the retail sector. Lowe's, little reversal out here, not back into the trading range, so it still looks a little better. Of course, we had one of the housing builders come out with light numbers today, and that may be a little bit of this because it opened at the same price yesterday and tried to go up a little bit, but is rolled back in there. Certainly, you don't have a big volume sell-off in Lowe's. Yesterday, you had almost 12.9 million shares, about 5 so far. Mickey Doodles. When we look at this, another 52-week high, but not much juice to 2 million shares today compared to 4 million shares yesterday. Of course, we still have an hour and 15 minutes left, but that one's probably going to come up short. Marathon Petroleum Company, this one, a nice pop and holding it, so you may want to keep an eye on some of these. MPC is the symbol on this one. Yesterday, you had 4.2 million shares. Today, 2.7 million shares. But it is at least holding its price so far today. We're off 6 points on the S&P cash. It is a magic investment. If it makes a profit, it's got to be a magic investment. MGIC Investment Corp, MTG, the symbol just a penny or two above its previous high, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one. PGR, Progressive Corporation, just another tick higher, but pulling back a little, extremely light volume. Regional Financial, another financial stock, making just a tick above and pulling back in. Yesterday, 16.5 million shares. Today, just 8 million shares. So a lot of high volume ticks in these 52-week highs today. We'll try to get through the end of them in the next segment.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to the Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Come join me next hour as we bisect and dissect these markets. Right here on TFNN. Wow!
And the Nasdaq's turned negative. Dow's off 80, and the S&P's off 7. So we'll see. Of course, options expiration, Delta neutral day is tomorrow. So kind of look for about 2 o'clock for an opportunity for a bounce. But we'll see what happens. Everybody getting a little bit bearish out here, which always makes me think that maybe the big money is probably being a little bit bullish. But I'm just contrary that way. STI, we'll look at a few more of these making 52-week highs. SunTrust Banks, again, kind of the big rotation. Looks like maybe it's run out of juice. 64.81 3.5 million shares today compared to 6.2 million shares yesterday. So this is coming back into the trading range. TDC, Teradata, 1.3 million shares today compared to 1.7 yesterday, but this is going through the November 2nd high that had 5.4 million shares. So you got a light volume test in there. T. Rowe Price, nice reversal back up here over at least the last couple of days. So 1 million shares today. That's compared to 2.1 and 2 and 2.7 the last few days. So light volume high and a pullback. I'm not expecting these things to have the wheels fall off the wagons, but it is kind of an interesting day to see light volume really start to come back in. Valero Energy, another one of these energy companies, holding out a little bit better than the rest. This made a new high at $86.42, 2.8 million shares today, and that's pretty light compared to the 5.5 million shares we saw on the 30th of November. When we have enough time, another 52-week high that looks like it did it by a penny or so. 1.1 million shares today compared to 1.4 yesterday, 1.8 the day before. One of the ones that looks maybe a little bit better than the rest out here. That's all the time we've got for today. We went through as many 52-week highs to see how many of them rolled on us today. We'll see you tomorrow, but I thought maybe the S&P had enough juice to make it flat today. Maybe it still will. See what happens. Again, options expiration starts tomorrow. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. See you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.